ever imagined living in a place where water is so scarce that bathing with water is replaced by rituals of aromatic herbs, smoke, and animal fat? Or in a community where skin color is not determined solely by genetics, but by a special mixture of clay and butter? In the heart of Africa, there is a people who defy expectations and keep alive an ancestral culture that fascinates the world. Who are the Himba, and how have they managed to preserve their traditions for centuries, even in the face of the challenges of modernity? Welcome to a journey through one of the most intriguing cultures on the planet. Amidst the arid landscapes of southwestern Africa lives a people who preserve ancestral traditions, resisting the influences of the modern world. Today, you will meet the Himba, a nomadic tribe from Namibia, famous for their unique beauty, unique social practices, and an incredible adaptation to the hostile desert environment. The Himba tribe is one of the last nomadic societies in Africa, living in perfect harmony with the arid environment of northwestern Namibia. Unlike many modern communities, the Himba preserve customs and traditions passed down from generation to generation, maintaining a lifestyle deeply rooted in collectivity and the appreciation of ancestors. The social organization of the Himba revolves around the clan system, which defines family ties and responsibilities within the tribe. Each member belongs to two distinct clans, one inherited from the maternal lineage and the other from the paternal lineage. This system helps to balance power relations and maintain group cohesion, ensuring that the transmission of knowledge and rituals is continuous. Cattle play a central role in the Himba economy, being much more than just a food resource. For them, owning cattle is synonymous with status, wealth, and security. Cattle are used in important ceremonies, such as weddings and spiritual rituals, and are also offered as dowry in marriage alliances. Milk is also an essential food, consumed fresh or fermented, ensuring the tribe's nutrition in an environment where agriculture is practically impossible. The education of Himba children does not take place in formal schools, but rather through observation and active participation in the daily life of the village. From a very young age, girls learn to take care of the house and prepare achize, while boys accompany the elders in herding cattle. Learning takes place orally, with elders playing the fundamental role of transmitting stories, myths, and practical teachings to new generations. Another fascinating aspect of Himba culture is its unique view of time and aging. Unlike Western society, which often fears old age, the Himba deeply respect their elders, believing them to be holders of ancestral wisdom. Community decisions are often guided by the advice of elders, who play an essential role in maintaining tradition and resolving internal conflicts. The Himba also have a community justice system based on dialogue and reparation, not punishment. When disagreements or disputes arise, those involved meet with the village elders to discuss the issue and find a solution that restores balance and harmony among the tribe members. This model of conflict resolution strengthens community ties and prevents social fragmentation. The resilience of the Himba people is remarkable. Even when facing challenges such as the scarcity of natural resources and the pressures of modernization, they continue to live self-sufficiently, adapting to adversity without abandoning their cultural roots. The Himba way of life is a living testament to the human capacity to adapt to the environment and preserve a collective identity amidst the transformations of the contemporary world. The Himba dwellings are a reflection of their deep connection to the arid environment in which they live. Built with a mixture of wood, clay, and cow dung, these dwellings not only offer shelter from the extreme desert temperatures, but also symbolize the ingenuity and knowledge passed down through generations. The traditional shape of Himba houses is circular, with a central structure of tree branches covered by layers of clay and dried dung. This design is not random. The thick walls help keep the interior cool during the day and warm at night, functioning as a natural thermal insulation system. Furthermore, the circular layout of the villages reflects the tribe's social organization, creating a communal space where everyone is interconnected. The maintenance of the dwellings is a collective task, and women play a crucial role in this process. They are responsible for periodically renewing the layers of clay and dung, ensuring that the structures remain solid and resistant. This act goes beyond simple construction. It is a way of preserving cultural heritage and strengthening ties within the community. Interestingly, inside the houses, the internal organization follows a functional and symbolic pattern. The space is divided simply, with specific areas for sleeping, cooking, and storing objects. Fire, an essential element in the life of the Himba, occupies a prominent place inside the dwellings, serving not only to prepare food but also as a spiritual link with their ancestors. Another fascinating point is the fact that, despite their rustic appearance, these dwellings are incredibly adaptable to the environment. During periods of migration, the Himba are able to rebuild their houses in new locations with relative ease, using the same natural materials found in the region. This adaptability demonstrates their wisdom in taking advantage of available resources without depleting the environment. More than just shelters, the Himba houses represent the continuity of an ancestral way of life. In a world where modernity is rapidly advancing, these structures remain a symbol of cultural resistance and harmony between man and nature. Himba architecture is not only a practical response to the extreme conditions of the desert, but also a manifestation of identity, history, and belonging. The striking appearance of the Himba people is one of the most fascinating aspects of their culture. The reddish tone of their skin and hair is not just an aesthetic choice, but a symbol of identity and protection against the desert environment. This effect is achieved through otjis, a paste made from butter, animal fat, and natural pigments extracted from the soil, such as red ochre. Otjis is not just for enhancing beauty. It has essential practical functions, such as protection against the intense sun and maintaining skin moisture in an environment where water is scarce. In addition, this paste is believed to have medicinal and spiritual properties, connecting each individual with their ancestors and the land they live on. The application of otjise is a daily ritual, especially among women. They gather to prepare and apply the mixture to their bodies and hair, transforming this moment into a social activity and community strengthening. Each layer applied carries with it not only protection, but also a legacy passed down from generation to generation. The hairstyles of the Himba also have profound meanings. Each style indicates a person's stage of life, their social status, or their family situation. The elaborate braids and adornments used are more than just decorative elements. They tell stories and reinforce belonging to the group. For the Himba, beauty goes beyond physical appearance. It is intrinsically linked to culture, tradition, and respect for their ancestors. The otjis and personal care rituals are, therefore, an expression of pride and identity, becoming one of the most emblematic aspects of this extraordinary people. Hospitality is a fundamental value in Himba society and reflects their strong sense of community. For these people, receiving a visitor is not just a matter of courtesy, but a way to strengthen social alliances and demonstrate respect. The Himba believe that sharing their resources, their stories, and even their most intimate spaces is essential to maintaining harmony within the community. One of the most notable practices in this regard is the reception of visitors with gestures of generosity uncommon in Western cultures. When a guest arrives, they are welcomed with food and drink, even if the tribe's resources are scarce. Fermented milk and dried meat are often offered as a symbol of welcome, reinforcing the idea that no one should go hungry within the village. Within this logic of hospitality, there is the cultural practice known as wife sharing. Unlike what it may seem at first glance, this tradition is not imposed, but based on consent and the valuing of social harmony. In some situations, a man may offer his wife to spend the night with a high-prestige visitor or a close friend, as the ultimate demonstration of trust and hospitality. However, the woman has complete autonomy to accept or refuse, and her position within the community is not diminished by this choice. In addition, community ties among the Himba are reinforced by a strong interdependence between families. Everyone takes care of the village children, regardless of biological kinship, and the elders are highly respected as guardians of ancestral knowledge. Moments of conviviality, such as celebrations, dances, and gatherings around the fire, serve to strengthen these connections, ensuring that traditional values are passed on. Communicative ceremonies are also fundamental to solidifying ties within the community. From birth to death, each phase of life is marked by rituals that involve the entire tribe. Marriage, for example, is not just a union between two people, but an event that strengthens alliances between families, ensuring the continuity of Himba culture. In a world where individualism often prevails, the Himba offer a powerful example of how collectivity and hospitality can be the basis for a resilient society. Their traditions teach us that welcoming and sharing are more than just gestures of kindness. They are fundamental pillars for preserving cultural identity and social harmony. Spirituality is a fundamental pillar in Himba culture. For this people, the relationship between the physical and spiritual worlds is inseparable, and everything around them carries a sacred meaning. They believe that the spirits of their ancestors continue to influence the lives of the living, guiding decisions and protecting the community. This belief shapes how they organize their daily lives and rituals. The sacred fire, called Okuruvo, occupies a central place in Himba spirituality. Kept burning continuously, it symbolizes the connection between the living and ancestral spirits. Each village has a specific place where this fire is preserved, and only the oldest members of the family are allowed to tend it. During important ceremonies, such as weddings, births, and rites of passage, the sacred fire is used to invoke blessings and protection from the ancestors. The Himba also practice rituals of direct communication with the spirits. On special occasions, the elders perform songs and offerings to honor their ancestors and seek their guidance. These rituals often involve traditional dances and the use of burning aromatic herbs for purification. Ancestors are believed to act as intermediaries between the Himba and Mukuru, the supreme deity who governs the order of the universe. The relationship with nature is another manifestation of this people's spiritual connection. For the Himba, each natural element, the wind, the earth, the rivers, and the animals, possesses a sacred essence. They deeply respect the environment and see the preservation of the land as a responsibility inherited from their ancestors. This respect is reflected in how they use natural resources, ensuring that they never exploit them beyond what is necessary for their survival. Initiation ceremonies are extremely important moments within Himba spirituality. When a child reaches a certain age, they undergo rites that symbolize their entry into adulthood. During these events, there are prayers, body painting with red earth, and guidance given by elders about values and duties within the community. This process reinforces the continuity of traditions and the passing on of ancestral teachings. Death is also viewed spiritually among the Himba. When someone dies, their spirit is guided back to the ancestors through specific rituals, in which the sacred fire plays an essential role. The community gathers to honor the deceased and ensure that their soul finds the right path to reunite with those who came before. Himba spirituality is not separate from daily life. It is present in every aspect of this people's existence, from family relationships to agricultural practices. It is a force that unites them, protects them, and gives them meaning, ensuring that the wisdom of the ancestors continues to guide their lives for many generations. Despite the Himba's resistance to preserving their cultural identity, modernity has progressively infiltrated their way of life. The advance of globalization, the growth of tourism, and the expansion of neighboring cities have brought significant changes to this traditional community, creating a dilemma between maintaining ancestral roots and adapting to new social and economic realities. One of the main challenges faced by the Himba is the pressure from the Namibian government for their integration into modern society. Urban development and infrastructure projects frequently threaten their lands, leading to the forced relocation of some villages. In addition, formal education programs, although well-intentioned, often conflict with the traditional learning system based on orality and practical experience. For many Himba, Western education represents not only an opportunity, but also a risk of cultural assimilation, where younger generations may lose their connection to their traditions. Tourism also exerts an ambiguous impact on the Himba. On the one hand, visitors from all over the world are drawn to their unique culture, and some villages benefit financially from the sale of handicrafts and the performance of cultural presentations. However, this interaction with the outside world can lead to the commercial exploitation of their traditions, transforming genuine cultural practices into mere tourist attractions. This phenomenon has generated debates within the community about the extent to which exposure to the outside world can be beneficial or harmful. Another worrying factor is the environmental impact of climate change. Desertification and irregular rainfall threaten the Himba subsistence base, which depends heavily on livestock farming. The scarcity of water and pasture has led some families to seek alternatives in urban centers, where they face difficulties adapting and the risk of social marginalization. This forced exodus represents a direct threat to the preservation of Himba culture, as city life often results in the loss of traditions fundamental to their identity. In addition to external challenges, there are also internal changes taking place within the community. Access to technology and information, even if limited, has sparked a new perspective among young Himba people, who often feel torn between following the teachings of their elders or exploring new opportunities offered by the modern world. This generation faces the difficult decision of continuing their traditional lifestyle or seeking a different existence with greater access to education, health, and paid work. Despite these challenges, the Himba demonstrate an impressive capacity for adaptation without abandoning their traditions. Some villages have found ways to balance the old and the new, allowing their young people to attend school while still participating in tribal rituals and customs. In addition, community leaders have engaged in dialogue with the government and international organizations to ensure that their lands and rights are protected. The struggle for cultural preservation is not limited to the Himba. In various parts of the world, indigenous and traditional groups face similar challenges, trying to maintain their roots while dealing with the transformations of the 21st century. The case of the Himba makes us reflect on the importance of respecting and valuing cultural diversity, ensuring that these communities can decide their own future without external impositions. The fate of the Himba people is still being written. While some find ways to adapt their traditions without losing their essence, others face increasing pressure to integrate into modern society. The balance between tradition and progress remains a delicate issue, but one thing is certain. Himba culture is a testament to human resilience and the importance of preserving our ancestral heritage for future generations. The Himba culture is not just a vestige of the past. It is a living heritage that teaches us about resilience, collectivity, and respect for nature. In an increasingly globalized world, where many traditions disappear in the face of the advance of modernity, the Himba remain a symbol of cultural resistance. Their ability to maintain ancestral customs while facing contemporary challenges makes us reflect on the true meaning of identity and belonging. The preservation of Himba culture is not only the responsibility of this community, but of all humanity. Recognition and respect for their traditions are fundamental to ensuring that indigenous and tribal peoples have the right to live according to their values and beliefs. This does not mean isolating them from the modern world, but rather allowing them to have the autonomy to decide how they want to relate to external changes without losing their roots. The history of the Himba also serves as a warning about the impacts of globalization and climate change on traditional communities. Desertification, pressure for cultural assimilation, and tourism exploitation are real challenges that require attention and sustainable solutions. Protecting these communities involves not only preserving their traditions, but also ensuring they have access to essential resources to continue living in harmony with their environment. By learning about Himba culture, we are invited to value not only this community, but all cultural expressions that enrich human diversity. In times of global uniformity, the plurality of ways of life is an invaluable asset that must be protected and celebrated. We hope this journey through the mysteries of the fascinating Himba has been as exciting for you as it was for us. And thinking about that and the effort it takes to make these videos, we would love for you to leave us a like and your comment. It's the best way to help us continue bringing you the best content every week. If you enjoyed this video and are not yet subscribed, don't waste any time and do it now by activating the bell so you don't miss the fascinating videos we produce every week. Videos like this one that you can watch now to learn about one of the most fascinating places on the planet. Don't miss this opportunity and discover the wonders that this and many other places have to offer. In the heart of Namibia's Red Desert lives one of Africa's most fascinating and enigmatic peoples, the Himba. With ancient traditions that resist time and modernity, this indigenous group preserves customs that, to us, may seem completely out of touch with reality. And among them all, there is one in particular that often shocks those who hear it for the first time: the practice of offering one's own wife as a form of hospitality. Yes, you read that right. When a visitor arrives at a Himba man's home, he may be welcomed not only with food, shelter, and fresh water, but also with the right to sleep with the host's wife. This ancestral custom has a name, Okuje Pisa Omukazendu. Freely translated, it means something like offering one's wife as a sign of respect. It may seem absurd to our Western logic, but among the Himba, this has a much greater symbolic value than the simple physical act. It is a way of expressing trust, strengthening alliances, and demonstrating that the visitor is welcome enough to become part of the family's intimacy, even if only for one night. In some cases, the woman has the right to accept or refuse, but the cultural and social expectation is usually acceptance. The most curious thing is that, within this logic, there is no jealousy, scandal, or feeling of betrayal. It is a social ritual. A gesture that speaks more about collectivity, belonging, and honor than about romance or desire. For the Himba, all of this is deeply connected to the idea of community and the way they understand the world. Anthropologists who have studied this practice say that judging it with Western eyes is like trying to decipher a language using the wrong grammar. After all, what seems strange or unacceptable to us may be, for another people, an expression of respect and tradition. And then the question remains, where does the line lie between what is universal and what is merely cultural? To what extent are we truly open to seeing the world with different eyes? If this type of content intrigues you and makes you question what you thought was normal, then subscribe to the channel and come explore more amazing stories of incredible peoples around the world.